Welcome back to Straight Facts. The news is official. Jurrien Timber is an Arsenal player. The deal is complete. It's been complete for a while, but it has now been formally announced. We know gooners everywhere. Well, there'll be a sense of relief. There'll be a sense of happiness. They'll be over the moon that that deal is done and dusted. But a very good piece of business, in my opinion, for Arsenal. What would you make of it of yourself, Husam?
I mean, it's incredible news for Arsenal fans because, it was funny. I think these last like kind of 2, 3, 4, 5 days, these Arsenal fans have been like, okay, so we've agreed the Timber thing and the Rice thing. When are we actually going to get the announcements? And today they get the Timber announcement, which is good for them. We heard that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want to generalize because some people didn't do this, but a lot of people did use the whole holding thing as an excuse. Now, some people just said maybe he was like clearly their worst player and stuff, which I don't even agree with because they had bad players even during that run-in. But I think they solve the whole quote unquote holding problem. So they kind of solve that entire situation because now, if Saliba's out, they at least, of course, I'm not saying Timber is Saliba level or Gabriel level. He has to prove that yet. Of course, I agree with that completely. But they solve the problem as in he is not a quote-unquote typical defender who can't pass the football and all of that. And then look, it's crystal clear what Arteta is trying to do. He's trying to imitate the former manager in Pep Guardiola. He's gotten a centre-back who can invert from right back to centre-back or from centre-back to DM. So, he's kind of going down the line of the master that taught him all the tricks he knows type thing. So, yeah, this is a great signing for Arsenal. I was kind of shocked it took a bit of a while to announce, though. But they have finally arrived. It's better to arrive late than to never arrive. So this is good news for Arsenal fans.
I think that the announcements have come late because Arsenal are simply... I don't even believe this notion today that the paperwork for Rice is still being complete. I believe that the news has been slowly fed out by the clubs. I believe Arsenal's decision is let's announce it just before they meet up with their teammates for training and let's keep the buzz alive. Marketing is such an important part of these transfers. That you want to get a rush going to your website. You announce this one, you'll probably get Rice announced later today or tomorrow. Then suddenly their pictures go on the website. There's an influx there, and they use all that traffic to then guide you very, very, very subtly to the pages where they sell shirts and t-shirts and posters and lunchboxes to make money out of you. And that's not a dig. All clubs do it. And Arsenal are actually one of the best at marketing their football club. They actually have. You should actually just go and look at their club shop. They have ridiculously good. I would never buy them because they're Arsenal related, but they're very good. Like some of the wallets and they do like a golf bag. But my brother plays golf, and I showed him. He said it's really quite good quality, if that makes sense. So they actually have a brilliant level of merchandise at Arsenal, and that's what it's all about for me in relation to that. But yeah, it's a very good piece of business, and a little bit more to come on Arsenal later in the show. But it's been an interesting few days for your club, Liverpool. It's a very few interesting days for Liverpool because I know you wanted Henderson gone, and that looks like it will happen for maybe a small amount of money transfer fee wise, but you get rid of him. He goes to Saudi. £40 million bid in the offing for Fabinho as well. And now the potential, according to... it's interesting. I love what Fabrizio and Ben Jacobs have done today, where they've said Liverpool are not yet negotiating for Caicedo. But that isn't what the news reports today have said. The news reports today have said if these two exits come, Liverpool could go back in for Caicedo. So suddenly it almost looks as though you guys were just sort of treading water in this window. In the space of a few days, you could be after one of the best young talents in Europe in Caicedo. And then two players a lot of players wanted gone out your football club as well. And £50 million being raised in the process. It could be really good few days coming up for Liverpool.
Yes, it's a fantastic time, for us. Terry, if I be a little bit crazy, I'm gonna get cancelled because I've been fighting a couple of people online because they've been doing Henderson Defense League and it's just been insane. You know what I find real funny about football fans? sometimes we accuse our managers of doing something and then we end up doing the same exact thing that we accuse them of doing. I'm pretty sure Terry has heard himself probably 500 times on the Terrace alone. Klopp's problem is he's too sentimental. And then you've got people in our own fan base who's too sentimental. You're like, you can't sit up here and call Klopp sentimental and then you do the same thing. With the Henderson situation, look, you know, the words of Tom Little, he taught me this saying, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And you want to hear the reality with Henderson? If he played one more season, he would have 100% became a villain, because I don't know what lower level than this you could get. Like, he is by far was our worst player this whole year, by far our worst player. Him and Joe Gomez are competing for the top spot for worst player. He has massively regressed from an athleticism perspective, which used to be his biggest strength. He's massively regressed from that perspective. So he just really can't help Liverpool Football Club anymore. And all this leadership BS talk and blah, 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 it's all garbage, to be honest with you. I'll tell you why. There's logical reasons behind it. With all due respect, we're not an Arsenal where we've got an average age of 16. We've got Salah. We've got Wilson, Thiago, even Trent. All these players who have been there, done that. All the players who have been on podiums, all the players who have won a Champions League, won a Premier League, done all of that. And they can lead anyone in the entire world. I'm sure Mo Salah could lead any player that walks into Liverpool Football Club. I'm sure Alisson could do the same, and I could do the same. Using BS excuses is just very, 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 very confusing. And you look at the midfield, right? And logically speaking, all agendas aside, you've got Lavia, you've got, if he comes, of course, that is, you've got McAllister, Soboslai, you've got Jones and Bajcetic, and you've got, if he stays, Fabinho, 6 midfielders who are objectively, agendas aside, ahead of Henderson in the pecking order. From a business perspective, is it smart to pay someone 140 grand a week to be the 7th choice midfielder? No, it's not. It's completely the wrong decision to do that. And at the same time, he can't help me from football-wise. There is nothing Henderson adds to this team. Let's just cut the crap and say it as this. There is nothing he adds to this team.
The PR around him. I saw the headline around, if the captain of Liverpool isn't safe from Saudi, nobody is. I died. It's like, you're not signing. If they sign Trent, then I'd be like, wow, the Saudi league is pulling in talent. They're signing, generally speaking, anyone that's in like the mid to late 20s. It's because no big club wants them in Europe, and they're signing old men. That's predominantly it, if that makes sense. People pass their best and everything else. The PR, oh my God, they're getting Henderson. That's like a massive scoop. I'm sitting there looking around my room thinking, am I the only one who's seeing these headlines as strange? It's very, very strange indeed. But yeah, it could be. What do you make of the? Obviously, there's a lot of Liverpool fans calling out Chelsea for taking money from Saudi Arabia, saying that it was dodgy and it was cheating and it should be investigated. Doesn't seem to be the same level of energy for this.
Lovely cushion header for Gerrard. Oh, you beauty. What a hit, son. Big up to Stevie G. He's had so many assists for Liverpool Football Club, but this could be by far his best assist for the football club. Best assist. Mwah. I love you, Stevie. I love you so much. Thank you. Please get this done so we can finally get this done and over with. This is all down to Stevie G. I think he's helping us again. All the way from Saudi, he's helping us. So big up to him. And listen, I think the Henderson one, you'd have a case, with the whole, Chelsea Saudi thing. But with the Fabinho, I think he could still give at an elite European club. I don't want us to sell Fabinho to begin with. I know you haven't really asked about that yet, but I don't want us to sell him. I think that's too much change.
I was going to say, do you feel, I've seen a few Liverpool fans kind of say that you want to get rid of Henderson, but if you lose Henderson and Fabinho, do you feel that a lot of there's suggestions that Liverpool will struggle to win the league because too much experience will go?
Yes, you are 100% correct. Whoever says that idea, I completely completely support it. Look, when it comes to the Fabinho situation, look, Fabinho was horrible this season. There's no need to like kind of change reality. I think bar Alisson, there is no one who has kept his level or played at a higher level than previous. So with Fabinho, it's the same. Fabinho regressed. He had the horrible moments this season and all of that. But at the same time, I think there is something such as too much change. I think there's too much change happening right now. I don't want us to become, speaking of Chelsea, the next Chelsea. I don't want us to become the next club who just changes a whole lot of things and then comes out and goes like, wait, what's happening here? Like, this is too much change. I think we need players of experience who are in there. I want us to keep Fabinho, keep Thiago, and then we can really buy whoever alongside them. And that way you can, ease players in, start rebuilding smartly, step by step. You cannot go all the way out. You really can't go all the way out and just sell everybody, because then you're looking at an average age of about 19 in that midfield. And I think that's definitely a problem. I really want to skip Fabinho. And I think with Fabinho, I think he still has a lot to offer. I think Fabinho, of course, he's regressed a little bit, but I'd say comfortably an 80% Fabinho and 85% Fabinho is still maybe top 10 DM in the world. And 85% Fabinho. So he offers us a lot. And I'd really want us to keep him. And he's actually been run into the ground. Fabinho is one of them ones who I actually feel bad for because he was played too much. So he's been run into the ground. So I want us to give him this season, play next to Szoboszlai and McAllister with Trent inverted, so he wouldn't have to do as much work. And at the same time, with a better team all round and playing one game a week. I don't expect Fabinho to pull up in the Europa League. That's my thing.
Yeah, no, I get that. This here says from Chris says, why do every Liverpool fan think that every season they're going to win the league? They've won one in the last 40 years. That's from a United fan.
I mean, Chris, first of all, your super chat is wrong to begin with, because not every Liverpool fan thinks that we have to win the league. Tom Little thinks we're in a rebuild. I don't. We're both members of the Terrace and we work together separately and we disagree. So that's number one. Number two, you have to hold your club to the highest standard possible, the highest possible standard. And this is where I have been objective when it comes to criticizing my own football club, because I've got a couple of fan bases on the Terrace on lock. They just see my face, they automatically get triggered. Arsenal fans, United fans, like you, Chris. When it comes to Liverpool Football Club, I'm sorry, I don't have Alisson, Trent, Van Dijk, Salah, Diaz, Jota, all these players, Thiago, so I can sit up here and talk about, oh my God, I'm competing for top 4. This season, Liverpool Football Club was a meme. We were a meme. My face used to get clipped up by Sharik, who's a member of the Terrace, and he used to tag Terry every week to show him, look how Husam reacted to Leeds scoring in the last minute. And this season, we were only 4 points away from top 4 anyway. So you're telling me I'm going to sign Szoboszlai, I'm going to sign McAllister, possibly a centre-back and another midfielder, and all I'm going to do is be 4 points better off? You're the one that needs to question why you're thinking so low of a football club, not me.
My mixer's going weird again.
Yep.
It's gone all weird. It did this the other day. Now, if I take my finger off this button now, it's gonna go strange again. Okay. No, yeah, it is. It's gonna go very weird. This mixer broke the other day, and I managed to fix it, and now it's going very strange again. But yeah,
you remember Alvin and the Chipmunks?
Yeah, no, it does. It goes like that.
That's what they sound like.
I've ordered a new one. It hasn't arrived yet, but I managed to fix it. It's been fine all week, and now it's going strange again. But yeah, look, listen, it's rival season.
Do you think Liverpool should look at winning the league next season, even as a United fan? Be honest.
If you don't win the league next year, the Premier League's been a failure of a season for you.
Thank you.
I think the standards that Liverpool have set under Klopp, if you don't win the league, it's a bad season. Now, of course, it's in Premier League. If you win the FA Cup, come second, get to the final with the Champions League, it's a pretty good season. But in terms of the Premier League, if you're not winning it, next year, City, Arsenal, Liverpool, guarantee, if either one of those 3 teams doesn't win the league, it's a bad Premier League season because of the standards that they have set, especially Liverpool and Man City, because of the title races and trophies that you've won in recent years. It's as simple and as straightforward as that.
And speaking of Arsenal, I understand why Arsenal fans and clubs maybe of that nature, even your own fan base as United and other fans, talk about phases and rebuilds and steps and all of that. I get that. Because you just don't have players like who at Man United, maybe besides Casemiro, is like off Salah's level or Van Dijk, blah, blah, blah. Like on paper, the team's there. On paper, the manager's there. And now if I'm signing these new players in, why should I sit up here and come on the Terrace in front of all these people watching and go like, hey guys, we're going to get top 4. Like how's that like some sort of unbelievable thing? And by the way, furthermore, we don't even need top 4. We finish 5th. We get Champions League football.
Yeah. This comment here says, why would they have to win when they aren't the best team? But this is the point. You can judge a team in isolation of one season, but that really isn't. You can judge a season and go, how good was Liverpool's season last year? And you can judge that in isolation. You wouldn't let last season's campaign trump all the other years of Jurgen Klopp. But you judge a football club on how they perform, the transfer window, how they behave on and off the pitch. And if Liverpool haven't been building and preparing their squad over the past few years to be ready to win the league every year, then that's a problem. If you don't think they're good enough, then they've already failed. That's the point. It's a case of if Liverpool, with the standards they've set with Klopp, are not challenging for that Prem and don't win that Prem, they've had a bad season. So if your view here from Trav, like if you think there's no way they're good enough to win it, there's no way they're winning it, Liverpool have already failed, especially from where they were just a season and just the season before last, where they nearly won a quad. So for me, Liverpool City, with the standards they've set, managers they've got, the money they've invested, they should be trying to win that league every single year. And if they looked at it as no chance because they haven't built a good enough squad, that's an even bigger problem than me predicting that they should be trying to win the league. In my personal view.
And sorry, can you put up his new comment? One title in 30 years, that one, because you see, certain people like Travelli. You know, first of all, I rebutted you. Terry rebutted you. Are you just going to be wrong and strong about things? You see how I know you're not listening. Sometimes listen to understand, don't listen to respond. You know, I like having a go at people in the comments who do shit like this because they don't listen to understand. My brother, has Klopp been the manager for 30 years? We're clearly talking about when Klopp's been manager. Who gives a fuck about, you know, all Roy Hodgson and Benitez and the managers from 30 years ago? We're talking about right here, right now. Right here, right now, we've got the second best team in the country, the second best manager in the country, and we've strengthened, and we don't have Champions League football, which means we're going to play 1 game a week. You're telling me standards under Klopp, Traverelli. Obviously, we didn't have the same standards under Benitez or Rodgers or Hodgson. If you met me 10 years ago, I would have been like, make us a consistent Champions League club at least.
But it's also about achieving it, right? So,
of course.
I learned this about UK employment law. It's very hard to sack people in England. If they do gross misconduct, they punch someone or steal something easy. But if they're underperforming, it's very hard to get them out of your business. You can't just sack people. It takes months of performance management. Unless when they're being performance managed, say over a 2-month period, they prove they can do the job to an adequate level, and then they stop performing at that level again straight away as soon as they come off that performance improvement plan, because it is deemed as a conscious decision because they've proven during that performance performance review that they can achieve the standards. So therefore, it becomes a choice not to perform, thus gross misconduct, and they can be fired. And I've got rid of a few people that way, right? But that's the same. I view that logic. I view that with football. Liverpool have now got to the standard of being one of the best in the world. There's no excuse now to go backwards again. Going backwards, you guys failed for 25 odd years in the Premier League and you kept on getting it wrong. And over the course of time, the expectations erode because you're never getting it right. But once you get back to the top, it's like, well, you've proven now, Liverpool, that you can create one of the best teams in the world. Now maintain it. And maintaining it is a very difficult thing to do, but that's the standards that you've set under Jurgen Klopp. He's proved he can achieve it, and you go from there. But yes, it's as simple and as straightforward as that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what you do. In terms of the Caicedo news, what do you think is going to happen now? I know Chelsea, I've seen all the big Chelsea accounts. It's a bit like every time they see Colwell news, a big account comes out and says, no, there's no way he's leaving. You know me when it comes to transfers. There's no smoke without fire. And I think Liverpool and a number of clubs are in the background. This deal between Chelsea and Caicedo, as far as it appears, and as far as we can all see, has not progressed one iota in about 3 to 4 weeks. If Liverpool raise another 50 million, which would be unexpected money, no one expected these deals to happen. Do you think you're in for him? And do you believe you're a more attractive proposition for Caicedo than Chelsea?
Oh, absolutely. Liverpool are not just more attractive than Chelsea. Liverpool are more attractive than Arsenal. Liverpool are more attractive than anyone in this entire league not called Man City. Man City, I have no doubt in my mind, Man City are the most attractive club to go to. We're the second most attractive club by far. because you don't just triumph everything in one bad season. It just doesn't push away everything. Same way, when Mourinho came in there, he was an attraction, and even though United weren't in the Champions League, they still managed to sign Pogba and Lukaku, players of the absolute highest caliber. So for me, I think Caicedo would definitely would want to move to Liverpool over Arsenal or over Chelsea or over any club he's linked with, unless it's Man City. I recognize that Man City are kind of the best situation for any player to go to. But my thing is, I just think the problem is money, Terry. We go back to the same conversation for Liverpool Football Club and our ownership and Fenway Sports Group, and that is money. And logic dictates this. I'm just being logical. Logic dictates. We didn't hear about this Henderson or Fabinho stuff. We were looking at Lavia. He was going to cost 50 million. Logic dictates if we do sell Fabinho and Henderson, we should be able to afford Caicedo. That's the reality. But I think what played a major part in all this is Declan Rice, Terry, because I think Tony Bloom has looked at this entire Declan Rice situation and gone like, wait a minute, if they're gonna buy Declan Rice for 105 million, I ain't gonna accept no idiotic bid for Caicedo. I'm not gonna sit up here because I think probably in Tony Bloom's head, he's thinking Caicedo is better than Rice, which would, I think, look, personally, I'd say Rice is better, but I think Caicedo and Rice is a conversation. I'm saying it's not like, oh, they're so far off. Like, with all due respect, I'm not comparing Rice to De Bruyne. Like, we're comparing to Caicedo. They're both similar level players. So I look at this entire situation with Caicedo, and I think it's all about the money for Brighton Football Club, because they have shown previously in the past they are a willing selling club. And Chelsea have ruined this entire thing for us because they decided to go pull up and pay 100 million or however it is for Enzo Fernandez. So now they've ruined their own rep, and they've massively increased the price tag for exciting young midfielders in the world. So we're sat here like, okay, we're kind of all screwed right now. From a logical perspective, Liverpool, first of all, let's get something right. Liverpool can afford Moises Caicedo. Liverpool should be able to buy Moises Caicedo, but there's a difference between can afford and willing to pay. Those are two different things, completely different things. Now, because of the way Liverpool Football Club are run, I think Caicedo is probably going to be difficult, and that's the same way you mentioned Colwell earlier on. I think Colwell would jump at the opportunity to play for Liverpool Football Club because he'd start for us. But the problem is, once again, the money. Chelsea are asking for too much money as well. So, yeah, that's the situation right now.
It's going to be the Caicedo news is very interesting for me. I still think personally Chelsea are the front runners. I still think they've got a great chance of getting him done. But the market has really slowed up in the last 10 days or so. There's been no real movement for anybody other than deals that were already fairly far along. Onana to Man United looks like it's on the edge of being announced as an example, but you've got Guardiola City. It's just dead. It's absolutely dead.
That's stalled as well, Loki.
Yeah, and that's why I've been saying to a few people, like, United fans are getting annoyed that ad deals are stalling. Like, City's big deal is stalling. Chelsea's big deals are stalling. Arsenal are the only ones. You could argue Maddison to Spurs, but that's from a team that got relegated who don't have any negotiating power now. So it was easier.
And Spurs aren't serious anyway, so it's not
Mount was an easy deal, really, because Chelsea needed to sell. So we got him cheaper than what Chelsea wanted. But most of the big deals so far, barring Declan Rice and Kai Havertz, have stalled. You guys, again, both of Liverpool's deals had buyout clauses. And that's not a dig, but there is no negotiation. You just pay the buyout clause and you get the player done. So there's most of the big deals so far this summer are stalling and taking a long time. It almost needs one to happen for the rest to kind of follow on, if that makes sense. But I'm not sure if Liverpool...
It's funny you mentioned Rice, Terry. I think Rice is exactly what the doctor ordered for us. But monetary-wise, we don't have the facilities for that. If I had an open checkbook, I'd call West Ham and I'd go like, listen, Arsenal have offered 105. I'm going to offer you 106. I'm going to offer you 1 million more. But let's get this deal done with. But we don't really have the money like that, to do. We do have the money. We don't spend the money, but, unfortunately, that's the situation for us. But I think Rice is probably exactly what we need if we do let go of Fabinho, because a midfield three of like Rice, Soboslai, and McAllister with Trent inverted, it's over for all of you. But unfortunately, we don't have the facilities for that. We don't.
No, you certainly don't. This here says Guardiola deal is ongoing. Man City have planned talks with RB Leipzig. I'm not saying it's not ongoing. I'm just saying it's 3 weeks ago we got the player wants to join, and nothing's happened since. And it's not a dig at City. It's all these major deals. They're all slowing down. And yeah, it's very interesting. But yeah, look, I just don't. Yeah, I agree with you. I think even with this 50 million, I saw the stories today that you guys might go in for Caicedo, but yeah, I just don't think you'll spend that kind of money. If I'm being honest, they are talking. I do think the Caicedo deal in totality is going to be about 100 million, and I just don't
That's
think
too much. Too
yeah,
much.
you guys will. You guys will go and get Lavia for 40 to 50 million. That is who Liverpool will go and buy with this money. And I want you to. Look, it's good and bad news. I think your midfield is going to grow into a very good one, but you're not winning the league next year. You're not winning the
I
league.
think we still could, but it's a little bit less unlikely.
The only way, the way you might do it. So I'm judging that based on City being as good as they normally are, Arsenal being as good as I think they'll be. However, City could be losing Kyle Walker, Riyad Mahrez, Silva, Gundogan is gone, Laporte's on his way out. Is there people are talking about Arsenal losing Partey could kill them? People are saying that Liverpool, if you lose Fabinho and Henderson, could ruin you for a few years. Does that same logic apply to Man City if they lose these players, Kyle Walker included? Could there I'm not going to say struggle next year because they're a brilliant team, but could there be a 6, 9, 10-point drop off from this City team?
There could be, and Terry, that's what I've been banking on from the start. I've always said, look, Liverpool need to do what we need to do. Liverpool need to fix the midfield, and Liverpool need to get one centre back, and I think we'd be capable of winning the league. But at the same time, I've always prefaced it with saying, I just do not think that City are going to have the same motivational levels. Pep came out in an interview once and he said, after he won his third or fourth title with Barcelona, he was like, the motivation levels were just not there because after 4 years of eating caviar, it's very difficult to convince you that caviar tastes good for the 5th year. He even said it himself. So I think that many changes at City, out of respect for Pep and what they've done, 100% you've got to put them in the conversation. But I'm simply questioning motivational levels. I'm questioning a lot of things currently at Man City. I think I'm not. And by the way, even if City drop off, as Terry said, a City drop off is not a Liverpool drop off or a United drop off or an Arsenal drop off. No. A City drop off is like they're going to drop off by 10 points, but they're going to keep easy top 4 place. They're going to compete on all fronts. I think City. I actually wrote their name down as the Champions League winner next season. I think City are winning the Champions League next season back to back, but I don't think they win the league title. So that's been something I've been thinking about this whole time. So for me, I put all 3 teams in a title race. Arsenal fans, for some reason, think I don't respect them. I do respect them, but I'm putting all 3 of us in the title race. And in Arabic, we have a saying called Al Maidan Yah Maidan, which means to the battlefield we go. And we will see who wins the league.
Maybe. Do you know what? If they lose too many of their stars, I don't think they'll be as good next year. They'll still be an amazing team. They still may be the best team in the world. Kyle Walker's a great example. Now, I'm not a hater of Kyle Walker. I do think he can be a little bit. There's a mistake in him, but the one thing Kyle Walker's got is that ability with his pace to recover his own mistakes. And also to be great covering behind, getting the ball over the back of that Man City defense with him at the back so hard. That's a big player to lose. If they lose Silva and Gundogan, massive clutch players for them. Riyad Mahrez, when they have whoever it is that starts on their right hand side, if Mahrez don't start, who is it that starts it? Bernardo. That's a crazy thing. This season it's been Bernardo or it's been Riyad Mahrez on the right. They could both go. That's what was scary is that one of them would start, and if it wasn't working, the other would come on, and you're like, Jesus, no rest up. They both leave. That weakens them slightly. KDB, I think we're already beginning to see the beginning of his not decline technically as a footballer, but his physical decline. I think there could be a slight drop off next year, which won't open the door wide for everybody to steamroll past them because Pep's their manager and they're still a brilliant team. But what it may do is leave that door slightly ajar and it gives you the opportunity to get in there, but you have to seize it quickly. And they're linked, by the way. Look, Kovacic is not a great He's not a great replacement for Gundogan, in my opinion. He's a good player, but he's not at Gundogan's level. They're linked to Pavard to replace Kyle Walker. That is like selling Marcus Rashford and buying Mark Albrighton.
I saw this whole Pavard thing.
Massive downgrade.
I saw this Pavard thing and I was like, there is no way this is reality. I really like stared at my phone for a couple of minutes because earlier on, like 3-4 weeks ago, we were linked. We at Liverpool as well were linked to Pavard, and I'm like, please, I don't want this to happen. Please, I don't want this to happen. I didn't want Pavard even at my club, and we're further back than City. So like, listen. Pep could get a tune out of most football players in the world. I'm not going to say every because he has failed with some, but he could get a tune out of many players in the world. But Pavard, I'm going to be honest with you, going from Walker to Pavard, it's not just a downgrade, it's an unbelievable downgrade. I really do not think there is any attribute on the football pitch that I would give Pavard over Kyle Walker. Not a single attribute. Not a single attribute. Like every player has something over someone. With Pavard and Kyle Walker, there's just nothing. Like I think Kyle Walker is probably even a bit technically better. Kyle Walker is, I'd say, even technically on the ball, he's probably a bit better than Pavard. Or else, if he wasn't technically good, he wouldn't survive 4 or 5 years under Pep anyway. If he wasn't technically good,
Pavard,
so that's
Pavard to me. I'm just, as a few people were saying, people spoke about a Kanji like that. Yeah, but I'm not other people. And me, I didn't say a Kanji was going to be a bad deal. So again, you can't. I will say this to people: if you're learning how to debate, you can't debunk my opinion with things other people have said. I once said something. I can't remember what it was about now. Someone, yeah, but Gary Neville said the opposite once before. I'm like, well, how does that make me a hypocrite? Go speak to Gary Neville. Like what somebody else says is no reflection on my opinion. I just don't think Pavard's that good. And if you're upgrading Gundogan with Kovacic as an example, and you're upgrading or you're replacing Walker with Pavard, if you do that across all those positions, City's squad gets weaker. It's as simple and as straightforward as that for me. Now, like I've said, they're not going to fall off and struggle to make the top 4, go out in the group stage of the Champions League, but they'll just leave that door slightly ajar. However, though, they had Guardiola and another 2 players of that quality in different positions. If they go out there and sign Mbappe, right?
Mbappe.
Right. I'm just throwing that now. I'm being very flippant when I say that. They go out there and sign some stars, then things
which they're capable of as well, might we add?
Of course they are. Then there's talk about Hakimi. Listen, I don't think he's going to sign it. I don't think he's going to sign Hakimi. The way he seems to want to use fullbacks, I think he's going to buy out and out defenders. I think the age of marauding fullbacks is done now, and that's why Liverpool are looking to move on from Robertson, because what he's good at, it may not be your system next year. And
100%. And let me just say something to the guy who said Akanji. That still doesn't debunk Terry's logic, even if Terry said it, which he didn't. But let's assume for the sake of argument he said it. Ruben Diaz didn't leave and got replaced by Akanji. Ruben Diaz was there while you got an Akanji, which is 2 totally different arguments. Because come the end of the season, what were people saying? Who was your best centre back? People were saying John Stones and Ruben Diaz. That's what everyone was saying. Every City fan either said Stones was our best centre back or Diaz was our best centre back, and they both were were there before last summer's transfer window. Akanji had a really hot start, had a very good run going for the club, and I think he's had a very, very, very good season this year. But it was still 2 of your defenders who were there, who were your better players, towards the end of the season. So Diaz and Stones were the guys for you guys. And by the way, for me, the same as Terry anyway. I predicted City to win the league. So all this like, oh my God, the same thing was said about Akanji. No, it wasn't. And this time you're losing too many players. Same way, I'm keeping my same energy for my own football club. I just came on the terrace and I said, I don't want to lose Fabinho. I said it. I said, I want to keep Fabinho because I think it's necessary for us to win the league. If you lose Gundogan, Bernardo, Mahrez, Kyle Walker, Cancelo was gone anywhere from January. It looks like he's going to go anyway. That's already 5 players that are gone. And there's probably rumored 1 or 2 more who's going to move on. So of course we're going to look at it like, okay, the door's open. And with all due respect to all the fan bases in the comment section, I'm going to just say this. If you guys are all sat here scared of the big bad wolf, I'm not scared of the big bad wolf, because I beat the big bad wolf and I got myself a Premier League title against Pep Guardiola. So I know I can do that again. So if you're a supporter of some other fan base who's like, oh my God, I'm so scared, I ain't scared. Klopp's the X factor for me, because I know if there's any manager in this league besides Pep who can win 18 in a row, it's Klopp. So that's why I'm not intimidated at all. I'm a hunt that wolf. I'm telling you right now.
This here says, bro said Liverpool is the second most attractive club, yet got fifth. Arsenal has a better ceiling than Liverpool, is what Benjamin.
Using your logic, Newcastle are more attractive than Chelsea. Using your logic, Brentford are more attractive than Chelsea. Using your logic, Fulham are more attractive than Chelsea. I'm sure if Caicedo got a call from Brentford, he should move to Brentford just because they finished above Chelsea 1 year. That's the dumbest thing you've ever said your whole life, Benjamin. Thank you for the super chat, but it's not just about league position. There are 3 things that determine pull. I'm going to say it one time for all the people in the comment section. Who has the better manager, who has the more recent success, and who has the better players on paper. Well, who has the better manager? Obviously, Klopp's a better manager than Arteta. Who has the more recent success? Liverpool Football Club. On paper, players around the world are going to say, I want to play next to Van Dijk. They don't say that for Saliba yet. He needs time to get to that level. When he gets to that level, that's when you're going to have bigger pull than us. That's just how life works. But big up, though.
This here says number 2 club, try 5th. Be honest, is what MMO
I've already answered this. Premier League table means nothing.
This is, bro, if Arsenal somehow win the league this season, I'll run around London's Trafalgar Square naked with I love you, Terry, on my right butt cheek. Come on, you gooners. Fair enough. Damn. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. Yes, damn. Husam, should we ban all transfers to Saudi, as Carragher waffled about?
I think we should ban all transfers to Saudi, but on the one condition that we ban all transfers to the Premier League as well, and we stop the Premier League from buying players from France or from the Bundesliga or from anywhere else in the world. If we do that, then we can ban transfers to Saudi. So that would be my answer. I've never agreed with Carragher once as a pundit. Once. He waffles so much. And you know what I find really funny? I speak to United fans. They like Carragher more as a pundit. I speak to Liverpool fans, some of them like Neville more as a pundit, because it's just like they feel like the other ones, because they're not emotionally attached, they actually have a more honest assessment of the opposition's football club. So
yeah,
it is what it is, man.
I hear you on that. This here says, you think Caicedo chooses you over Arsenal? He was literally on his knees for Arsenal, is what John.
One phone call from Jurrien Klopp, and he would forget that Arsenal Football Club ever existed. I'm sorry, you're just not that guy yet, John. Please understand, you're not that guy. When it comes to me, you're not that guy. Like, the shark came and he hunted you down. Even at 89 points, they were league champions. I was on the shark's neck to the last game, and I beat the shark before. So we're not the same, I'm going to be honest with you. Big up for the superstar, though.
Even if you had money, Rice ain't going to Liverpool, is what.
Here comes the delusion again. It's always these sensitive-ass Arsenal fans. Once again, one phone call from Jurgen Klopp, Declan Rice be a Liverpool player. It's about the money, though. We don't have the money. Not having the money versus not having the pull are completely different things.
We can dream all we want. First place is not available in the Premier League. It's City's. Pep is unstoppable. Let's focus on the cuts fact.
But that's such shit mentality. Who goes into a season defeated already? Like, so let's not play Prem football then. Just give them their league.
He's not unstoppable. Liverpool beat him to a league title with Klopp, and if you guys would have invested correctly, you could have stayed there. It's doable to catch Pep, overtake him. The one thing that Pep has to his advantage, and this isn't a discredit, he did it in Spain. He did it. Of course, he did it in Germany. He's done it here. He's always at one of, if not the most powerful club in the country, and he continues to invest in his team. And the reason that Liverpool have fallen behind City again is a failure to invest. So if Klopp can get his team to be better than City, and you were probably better for 18 months, you would have maintained that by investing correctly. So I disagree with that super chat. It is not impossible. 110%.
And Terry, you also know why it's not impossible to beat. Look at Arsenal this season. Forget the fact that they lost to City If they beat Southampton and West Ham and the teams they're supposed to beat, they're sat here Premier League champions anyway. So all this whole City are unstoppable stuff. The same club, Sule, because I see you've got a United badge on you. The same club you've probably laughed at their entire fan base and laughed at their club for bottling the league. Had they beaten Southampton and West Ham and the teams they're expected to beat, they would have been sat here Premier League champions. So all of this talk about City being unstoppable, the team that you're laughing at could have stopped them this season. That's reality.
Yeah, absolutely. This here says Steven Gerrard takes if Steven Gerrard takes Gomez and Nate too, he'll be the undisputed GOAT.
If someone takes Gomez, honestly, just make, instead of one statue, make it 2 statues, man. One for the transfers, one for the player, man. Let's do it. Big up Stevie G, man.
Benjamin here says, you just said no one should go to the EPL season feeling defeated, yet City will lose motivation to win the Premier League. No ball knowledge.
There's a difference between feeling defeated and having no motivation. This is something that they've won 4 times over the last 5 years. They've won it. I don't know how you can wake up again feeling motivated to beat Brighton away from home, Brentford away from home. That's not feeling defeated. I'm talking about motivational levels, which has happened with Terry's team, with probably the greatest man manager of all time in Ferguson. Even sometimes players just like, it just feels different after that third one. Like, you've already done a 3-peat, you've won the Champions League. I think you'd want to go again in the Champions League, but I think it would be a completely different scenario for the Premier League. It's about motivational levels.
Harold here says Martin Odegaard now the same age as KDB when KDB arrived at City. Odegaard will replace KDB. He's still on 83k a week, not signed a new contract yet. It was offered months ago. Oh, you think Odegaard's going to Man City?
I see that. I don't think that's impossible. Is that impossible?
Nothing's impossible in football if you pay the right money. Well, you think so, but what this is suggesting is that Odegaard isn't going to sign a new deal to force a move through to Man City.
Are you saying the kid inside Martin Odegaard has been thinking about playing for Man City for a while now? Is that what you're saying? It's about the kid inside Martin Odegaard. I mean, listen, Arsenal captains have left before. This ain't nothing new. Post Highbury era, it's been a crazy ride over there at Arsenal Football Club.
It's certainly, it has been a crazy ride. I don't see that just yet. I feel as though the one thing I'd say about Arsenal is their camp feels very happy. It's a very attractive project for people. I think the players believe in their manager. I think the players believe in the direction that they are going in. However, if they were to stall for it, say they went backwards this year and came 6th, I'm just throwing this out there, went out early in the champs, then maybe you could see a player or two's head get turned. But it might take a couple of years. I think these Arsenal players right now truly believe that they are going to be able to win some of these major trophies. But it could happen, Harold. I don't think I disagree with it, but I don't think it's a crazy warped take. I think it's a good
The
one.
FA Cup is a major trophy, to be fair. So yeah, they do have a chance.
FA Cup is huge. This here says, I'm 45 years old. I got diagnosed with Huntington's. I'm very, very sorry to hear that, my friend. It says, I don't work anymore, and I have to say this show gets me through every day. Big up the Terrace. Chris, first of all, I'm glad that we're, the show that I do and the ones that Sam does help get you through what you're going through. I wish you all the best. I don't know enough about your condition I don't know whether to say I hope it gets better. I don't know if it's lifelong. I'm a moron when it comes to this stuff, but I wish you well, my friend. I really, really do. And thank you so much for that super chat. It's very,
big up to you, Chris. Wish you well.
Indeed. Mateos here says, Husam, if Rice was available, it was able to ignore City's interest, how comes he picks up Klopp's phone call? So you are saying Klopp has more pull than Pep. Stop this.
I've already prefaced all my statements with City got more pull than Liverpool because I'm not delusional. But you stop being delusional, Mateos, because you know what happened with the Rice situation. Arsenal have paid more money than City. Simple as. Let's just say it as it is, man. Like, for once in your life, City pulled away from the deal. That's it. Don't act like a smart ass, Mateos, because I know you. You always love acting like a smart ass. I've known you for a while on the terrace. You're one of them smart ass super chatters. You know City pulled away from the deal. Come on, use your brain, brother.
This year, they've got some more super chats here. Odegaard hasn't been offered a new deal yet. Yeah, I haven't read that. I know they're in talks. I haven't seen the bit that he's officially been offered yet. I think that he will sign. This super chat says Benjamin Mendy has been found not guilty. He's been cleared of all charges, has Benjamin Mendy. So not one, he is completely exonerated. I have seen that news today. Will he come back? Well, I suppose he will now if he's completely innocent.
I mean, I wouldn't take him as backup left back personally for Kadani's army. I think probably the same situation that happened with MG is going to happen with him. He probably moved to a different league. Maybe move back to France, Ligue A, maybe something like that. We'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's interesting though. I mean, I've got to read more about the case, but I mean, that man's name was dragged, and he's been found innocent at the end of the day. And the same people, if he was found guilty, that would say you should condemn it, will they have the same energy now to say sorry for the things that we've written about you and said about you, and everything else? It's obviously very complex, but the amount of charges he had, I naturally felt he'd go down. I thought, God, can't have that many charges and be innocent. Well, according to this, he has. So, well, there we go. Man beat his case. Let's ban Saudi investment in hedge funds, banks, mortgages, credit card firms, and let's see what happens next. Pathetic, pejorative cackle. Get serious. Listen, I hear you. Listen, I'm one of these people. You all know how I go on, and they said it yesterday. And it's what I was calling out certain Liverpool fans, and I had a few of them message me saying, "Terry, I never said that though." Well, then there ain't a message for you, is it? Stop. Like, I do believe in this. As much as I'm English, I don't align myself with all English people because we're not all the same. I'm a Man United fan, but I'm sovereign. I don't, sometimes people say, "Oh, have you seen what that Man United fan did online? Are you not embarrassed?" No, it wasn't me. I don't feel secondhand embarrassment because he's a man. That Man United fan who wore that shirt to the FA Cup final that said, like, that 97 wasn't enough. I had felt no embarrassment because it wasn't me. The fact he's a Man United fan and so am I, that's not enough to connect us. It's like asking Liverpool fans to feel embarrassed because Jimmy Savile was a Liverpool supporter. It doesn't make any sense. People have got to stop like this hive mind group thinking and be sovereign in that way. But everyone knows so I called certain Liverpool fans yesterday, and I'm like, "Yo, you guys have said for years that money from that region of the world is immoral and disgusting. I can't see any tweets from these big accounts or any videos posted by them stating that we are going to boycott Liverpool if they accept £50 million from that region. No, you're celebrating getting the money and what you might buy with it. So, yeah, I can't stand the again, if you're someone that's against it, be against it. And if you're someone that I believe in the freedom, if you're someone that doesn't like Saudi Arabia for one reason or another, and you don't want to be involved in anything they invest in, great, fine, do that. Don't use Starbucks or Boeing jets. Walk away from the Premier League as a fan and go and find a sport they're not investing in. Do you know what? I'd actually commend that far more than moaning about it, but then participating anyway, especially in sport, which isn't a necessity of life. Do you know what I'm saying?
And go get yourself an electric car. Don't fill up your petrol as well.
Don't get an electric car though, because the electric car batteries are made by cobalt, which is testament to modern day slavery. 40,000 slave workers are in mines digging up the minerals for the batteries.
Oh, I saw that documentary as well. Oh, that was
careful. Horrible. So be careful what you're doing out there, virtue signalers. There's nothing wrong with being virtuous and a nice person, but stop projecting it out there to make as like an inoculation almost. Like, I'm a good person, everyone like me, when you are not following through in your day-to-day actions with the complaints that you have because you just look like a dick.
And you know what's funny, Terry? The two captains in the modern era for Liverpool Football Club are both in Saudi Arabia now. Steven Gerrard and Jordan Henderson.
Absolutely. And it's like, again, if you're going to go and if you're going to go and accept money from the people that run these football clubs and the people at the highest level, I expect these same Liverpool fans now to disown Gerrard. They've got to disown him. They are going to a country, taking money from a country that's immoral, corrupt, evil, and I'm using their words. I'm not talking about how I feel. He's taking money from them to coach football. Doesn't need to. He's a millionaire. This isn't a father of three struggling on the breadline who gets offered the most amazing job in Dubai or Saudi Arabia that changes his family's life. This man's already a millionaire. He doesn't need to work ever again. He's absolutely fine, but he's accepted it. So why are these same Liverpool fans not disowning Gerrard? Of course they won't, because when push comes to shove, they don't really care about these issues. They lie online and pretend online that they care to look good to their friends and family and followers. But in reality, they couldn't give a shit. They couldn't care less. They're liars. They're charlatans. They're fiends. And they've got to stop because it's boring. This year says Odegaard has said he's very happy at Arsenal and wants to start contract talks after the summer. Don't say worried, Gooners. Yeah, listen, I don't see him leaving either. I really, really don't. Liverpool were in Arsenal's position in the run out. They wouldn't have won because they have the maturity to do the hard things. Arsenal will get there, is what Reggie says.
They would have won. Yeah, I agree with you completely, Reggie. I've said this multiple times, even on this channel. I've said, look, last season, if we were in Arsenal's position, we'd be sat here Premier League winners, 100%. Yeah, and by the way, when we were in a title race with City, I need to remind everyone, we didn't lose to City the way we did. We actually beat them at Anfield. We drew 1-1 at the Etihad. And the quadruple season, it was a 2-2 draw and a 1-1 draw. So it was always a respectful occasion. When Arsenal played City last year, it was like men against boys, as the old commentary saying goes. So it was just a humiliation. So we never got humiliated like that against Man City. And look, Arsenal can develop to become that team. They're just not that team yet. So yeah, that's my thing.
Mm-hmm. This here says, what will happen if Barca if Silva gets the transfer to them? Well, they'll become a better team.
Barca are getting really strong, aren't they? They're getting really strong, Loki.
They are. I mean, they've got a long way to go. I mean, the fact that Man United outclassed them over 2 legs last year shows there's still flaws in that team. But that was just a lack of money because of what went on. They're going to keep investing, aren't they? They're going to keep investing. I think they're going to be a bit better. I don't know if they're nowhere near returning, in my opinion, to be one of the best teams in Europe. But yeah, I mean, he's such.
I can't. You look, you got the likes of Pedri, Gavi. You're adding on top of that Gundogan, possibly Bernardo. You look at Lewandowski, players like that. I think Barcelona are capable of achieving something big next season. 100%. I've got no doubt about it.
Yeah. Do players get finance and life advice? Yes, they do. They don't all listen to it, but they get it. They get it far more now than they used to. I used to work with a lot of the players in terms of doing that with the player liaison officers as well. Did you see the news about Man United? FFP breach?
Nope.
So Man United have been fined £257,000 by UEFA for a minor breach to the previous financial fair play rules. But we're being called cheats now, like City. That's what City fans are saying. With
250,000. That's like less than De Gea's wages. That ain't like.
I'm a little confused. I've read 3 reports on it, and what I can't
work. What's the reason though? What's the reason?
We don't know. So it's to do with our break-even reporting. Now I'm still unsure. I've read the reports. I've read our response. I've read the articles. I'm not sure whether we've lied and cheated, or whether we just lost too much money in a certain time period and were in breach of the rules because we lost too much money. Now, that isn't cheating. That's just losing too much money. So and if anybody knows, please let me know in the comment section, because I've read 2 articles and I'm still kind of unsure as to whether or not we have cheated and lied. Like, here's an extra £3 million we made that we didn't make, or whether or not we just lost too much money in that COVID time period and we're slightly in breach of it. So yeah, I'm a little bit confused. And there's no one's really, again, this is what annoys me when people get interviewed on this stuff. I'm sitting here as a fan thinking that should be the question that you ask. Did you break a rule, or did you just lose too much money? So I'm not too sure. Yeah, of course, City fans are coming out and they're very much they're all saying cheated, but I don't know whether we cheated. Someone says minor or major, it's still cheating. But this is the question I'm asking. And if we're cheated, I've already tweeted about it. I've said, look, if we've cheated, we've got to take our punishment like anybody else. Like when Liverpool cheated with the database stuff, like maybe City have done.
You love bringing that up. You love bringing that up. I'm just saying,
I've got the same energy, but my question is, like, someone says losing the money is breaking the rule. Yes, but getting a red card is breaking the rules of the pitch, but it isn't cheating. Like, depends what the red card's for, I suppose. But yeah, I'm asking the question: if you lose too much money, do you consider, if say Man United think, we're only going to lose 15 million this year, but we lose 16 million, so we're slightly over the limit, do you consider that cheating? Or
I mean,
I don't
no,
know.
not
I don't know. You?
not necessarily. I mean, the thing, the surprising thing is, no one actually knows what for yet. So until we find that out, we can give a clear and concise answer. But right now, I don't really think that should be considered quote unquote cheating. You know, it's different between pretending to have sponsors that don't exist than cheating.
Yeah, I mean, right at the end of their statement, it said that from UEFA, they have said, furthermore, the club has insisted that the charge will have no impact on their budget for new signings. However, United have warned that they will, along with other clubs, have to remain mindful of FFP constraints and what they can spend moving forward. So it's probably that we just lost slightly more than we thought we could lose. So we probably spent slightly more than we thought we could. That's very different from lying about your income and cooking your books, and it is what it is. But we broke a rule, and this is what I'd say: we've been punished, and we've faced we've done the crime. We've done the time. We've paid our fine. Like, we've owned up to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. So
Chat spam
yeah.
115. Just spam 115.
Yeah. Muppeteers tweeted about it, explained it. It says here, minor FFP breach down to what United see as a change in the way lost revenues from COVID were counted by UEFA, under control otherwise. Okay, so it's a misunderstanding of UEFA's change. So there's a very small fine. UEFA aren't going to do much else about. Yeah, it's for me. I mean, I have had Big Steve in voice, but you're the same as us. You're a cheat like us. I'm like, the fact that City fans are so angry about this just shows how fearful they are of their charges being true. Do you get what I mean? So, but I did say before, listen, like
Kick them out the Champions League. Give me that spot.
Yeah, get rid of it. If you've done wrong, you fine us. It's simple as that. I'll remain very, very
Terry, wasn't it Denmark in Euro 92 where they didn't qualify there and then they ended up winning it? If somehow something like that happened to us, imagine like Liverpool didn't qualify for the Champions League, somehow we end up winning it next season. Hey, give me that Champions League spot, man. Give me that Champions League spot. I cannot do Thursday nights, man. I can't do that shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
there's some more super chats here. This one says, where are we at? It says, I hope Messi does well in the US. I'm sure he will. I saw a picture of him actually in a supermarket shopping with no crowds around him. I know he's far more famous than Wayne Rooney, but Wayne Rooney was very famous. He said he loved being in America because lots of people didn't know who the hell he was, and he could walk around in the streets. And I'm sure he couldn't walk around in New York, but I bet that he could go out in some places in the States, even Lionel Messi, and kind of not be bothered.
Yep.
There'll be loads of Americans that just don't really know who he is, and I bet that he'll enjoy that because he can't do that in Europe, no doubt.
No, there's nowhere in the entire world other than the US and maybe a couple of countries where he wouldn't be recognized.
Yeah, no, that's very true. But with last season's experience, Arsenal will learn from their mistakes and come back even stronger. Do you think Arsenal will be stronger this year? Do you think Arsenal will be even better this year than last?
We're yet to see that. We're yet to see that. This is the thing, AMT. Like, I hear your sentiment, and I love the fact that you're supporting your football club. You're agreeing with what your football club is doing, but we don't know for a fact we're going to come back stronger. We've been watching football for a long time. Some teams have come back weaker. Some teams have come back and done worse. So only time will tell. I've already said I expect Arsenal to be in the title race. That doesn't mean they're going to win it, though. But we will see. Time will tell. Time will tell.
I think... yeah, I think they will. I believe they will with what they're buying. But the difference between this season and last is expectations. So what I'm really intrigued to see with Arsenal is how they live up to the expectation this year, But listen, I'm not going to lie. They're still on my scare list. They're still on the scary list. And I've got a few more of those videos to do, not about Arsenal, about other clubs in terms of what I'm going to do, like a preview for everybody. But Arsenal, with who they signed, the speed of their work, yeah, I'm worried about them next year. They're a definite threat to everybody's league positions and everything else. Terry, if you have a mortgage, credit card, car loan, or store card, you borrowed Saudi and Chinese money, 25% of Saudi oil and gas funds are invested in the West. Exactly. Now, look, I can understand if you're someone that's
big up Albert, by the way. That's one of my guys. Big up Albert.
Big up that, bro. You can be against it and then still have to use. You have to get a mortgage. And there's certain things that you just can't help be in contact with. There's certain things you can't get away from. I don't want to give the Tories any money, but I can't not pay my tax. If somebody wants to buy a house, they've got to get a mortgage. They can't control the way banking is done. You can try and be as responsible as possible and ethical as possible. Sometimes you can't help it. but it's more the luxuries in life that people don't like. You don't need to use Starbucks as an example. You don't need to do that, but yet people still will. You don't need an iPhone. You don't need one. It's a luxury. You can survive without one, but people will buy it anyway. And it's just, is that your phone? Is that your phone? No one?
Yeah, it's my phone. I've got one.
That's your phone.
I use this. Yeah, I use this.
Bruv, where are you in? Are you in 2001? Where are you?
Listen, I use this still. I always tell people every person needs to get one of these for themselves. I'm telling you right now.
Bruv.
If you ever need to disappear off the grid, you can always disappear off the grid.
Bruv, that's your burner. What are you up to? What are you up to on the side?
I swear here, it's currently out of charge, but you see this right here? Every single one of you should get one of these phones. If you ever need to disappear, get yourself one of these phones, take a flight to somewhere in East Asia. No one would ever know where the hell you went. Now everyone's scared. They think I'm a drug dealer or something. Hey,
maybe. Man shot him. Man is shot him. This year, so it's nothing like what City have been charged with. No, it's completely different to City's situation. Man United have broken a rule. It does appear to be minor and by mistake. That's what UEFA have said. They don't believe there's any malice in there. They're not hiding anything. It was a mistake, a clerical error. It's still a stain on the club. It's still embarrassing. There's no doubt, but we take the punishment on the chin and we move on. UEFA proved Man United broke FFP, not City even in court. Well, again, we'll see what happens with the Premier League's hearing with Man City. And if they're innocent, I'll say they're innocent and defend them. If they're guilty, I'll condemn them. I've got the same energy. My energy does not change. Man United incompetent. Man City tried to be clever. That's all. Yeah, that's more it. Man United was stupid. City potentially cheated. Yeah, absolutely. You guys seen Nwerani yesterday? He was only versus Nuremberg, but it wasn't that he balled out against them. It's that he looked like an Arsenal player.
I'm gonna just say one thing. Yesterday, I had one of the guys, the Arsenal fans, on my channel, and the guy was like, "You see this Nwerani guy? He was levitating on the football pitch." And I just want to give you guys, just as a Liverpool fan, me and you guys, we kind of went through similar experience. Let me just give you. There's a guy by the name of Iago Aspas. We played a game in Singapore, he scored a goal. We played a game in Malaysia, he scored a goal. We played a game in Thailand, he scored a goal. We went back to the Premier League, he did absolutely nothing. Preseason is never an indicator. I never use it to slander players, and I never use it to prop up players. There's only a couple of things maybe you might see that, okay, this guy might work here, this guy might not work there, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to, like, you see these players, they've got to do it in the grown man game. That's where you're actually gonna have to start to judging people, not in preseason games against Nuremberg, who are in the second division of Germany. Like, what are we doing here? I'd expect Arsenal to beat the fifth team in the Bundesliga 7-0. You're tagging me the second team in the Bundesliga? Come on, man.
This here says Klopp, a better manager, taking a mid-table team to the best. Pep always inherits world-class teams. Will rate if he takes teams like Tottenham and wins.
You know what's mad about the super chat, Terry? I'm sure you probably saw the video yesterday of two very famous content creators, where one guy was like, Klopp is the X factor, and he's pound for pound the best manager in the league. And it was one of the City fans who said it as well, and they kind of agreed, like, yes, pound for pound, he's the best in the league. I mean, this is one of the things where you're just gonna have to go, like, I remember when Kanye West won one of the Grammys, and he was like, I guess we'll never know. If Klopp goes and manages Paris Saint-Germain, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, that's when we'll know for sure if he is capable of doing Pep things with Pep level of money. That's when we'll get our answer 100%. But what we do know for sure is Klopp got Mainz to the Bundesliga for the first time ever. Klopp won Borussia Dortmund the Bundesliga, and since then, it's been Bayern Munich winning it every single season. And Klopp won Liverpool their first Premier League title in 30 years. So Klopp is doing it, quote-unquote, the hard way and doing more difficult achievements, if you would like. But we would never know until Klopp takes one of those jobs. The only way, I think, this whole thing...
I agree with you. I think that's why Fergie's looked at as the GOAT, because he's done both. With what he did with Aberdeen and then what he did with Man United. And I think that if Klopp, for instance, you say, when a managed Real Madrid and for like 6 years won two Champions Leagues and 4 La Ligas, then you'd go, wow, he's done, as you say, Klopp things.
Yep.
If Klopp went and managed, do you know where not Klopp? Do you know where I'd love to see Pep go? And if the money was there, he'd probably need it. But I'd love to see him go and reignite AC Milan and make them the best team in the world again. If he went and took a team that used to be great, that's fallen away for 10 years or so, and made them the best again, you might find he goes.
Do you think he'd be able to do that? That's the question.
The thing is, I think he could. But it's one of those things. I believe that Mbappe will kill it in the Liga, and I believe that Mbappe would kill it in the Premier League. But he still has to go and do it. It's a theory. It's a theory until they go and do it. Does that make sense? And I would love to see him take a team that maybe doesn't have them as a good amount of money, but doesn't have the most amount of money, and make them the best team. I'd love to see him go to AC Milan now and make them the best team. I'd love to see him go to Germany and manage Dortmund and better what Klopp did, like win 4 league titles in 5 years there with a Dortmund and really take that stranglehold away. I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him go and take over a.
We need to see each one of them in the opposite scenario, essentially.
Yeah. I would love to see it. I think Pep.
Would you put Klopp over Pep if he wins Germany the World Cup?
Sorry, say that again.
Would you agree with this whole Klopp over Pep thing if Klopp wins Germany the World Cup after?
No. I mean, you can't take away the amount of trophies that Pep's won. Like that's also the thing for Klopp as well. He's got to have somewhere near the same amount of trophies to be considered as good, because trophies do really matter. And I swear he's got about 3 times as many trophies as Klopp, if not more.
I have no idea what the numbers are regarding the trophies.
Yeah. So no, I don't think that does it alone. But
this answers Travelli's earlier on point why we need a league title anyway.
You know what's really crazy about it as well, though, is they're both fortunate to. I know that Pep's a very proud Catalonian, so he may not ever manage Spain.
Mm-hmm.
But they both are from countries, footballing wise, that have teams capable of winning the major trophies. They could both go and win major international honors as well. Like if you're from a country that has got no matter how good you manage it, like Fergie was from Scotland, he was never winning the World Cup with Scotland. Do you get what I mean? And if you're a manager of, if you're the best manager in the world, but you're from Luxembourg, you're never winning it with your home nation. Like it's never going to happen. This here says if Liverpool comes in for Caicedo with a bid and gets accepted, Chelsea will just match it, and then they've already got the personal terms, and it will be done.
No, but Andre, that's wrong logic, because Liverpool would have to agree personal terms with Caicedo anyway, to begin with. Remember the order of transfers. It's personal terms first before you speak to the club, no? Yeah, it's personal terms first. So Liverpool would have to agree personal terms with Caicedo anyway. Look, I've already said, pull and attraction has got nothing to do with the ability to spend money. Those are two different arguments. For me, personally, I think Caicedo would choose us over Arsenal or Chelsea, but it's just about the money. Would we be able to put the money on the table? That's where I'd say no. So that's why I think Chelsea probably end up getting him.
Fair enough. Already said it wasn't about the team they faced, that he looked like our midfielder last night. I'm comparing him to his Arsenal peers, is what Anthony says here. Why are people saying Arsenal and Man United will struggle this season because of the Champions League, like both haven't been in Europe last season?
I mean, Salman, regarding the Champions League, first of all, I went to your Europa League group stage teams, and I saw so many teams with the likes of Holding and Tierney and that American goalkeeper. I even forgot his name already. Tomiyasu, players from your bench playing El Neni, Nketiah. Players like that playing Europa League football. In the Champions League, you've got to play your starting 11. Group stages, knockout stages everywhere. You cannot take a single game off. Liverpool Football Club lost to Red Star Belgrade. Like, you need to understand, this is not no idiotic competition. This is real. This is the real deal. Real Madrid lost to Sheriff Tiraspol. You know? Do you even know who Sheriff Tiraspol are? They lost to them in the Champions League. So you can't mess about in the Champions League. You've got to play your first team always. So it's a totally different experience for your football club.
Francis says, so do you both believe Liverpool and Manchester United can do better than Arsenal over the next 2 seasons?
From a Liverpool perspective, yes, if we get our transfers correct. That's the only way we can do better than both you and City. If we just need to get the transfers correct. Man United, I think, probably a little bit, maybe 2 steps behind right now.
The takeover is key. If we get the takeover done and we have the right summer transfer, then yes, we add Amrabat, Onana, Kane, I'm just throwing names out here, then yeah, of course we can. I think we can do. I think Man United have a better manager than Arsenal. I do think Ten Hag is better than and more experienced than Mikel Arteta. But it's about us investing right. And at the moment, there's still massive holes in our squad as we rebuild and we continue to move forward. And we haven't got all our business done yet. But yeah, look, Arsenal are going to be a difficult team for Man United to beat. But if we get the takeover and we get the money and we get better people running our club, then yeah, I believe we can. But there's some if buts and maybes in there. This year says Arteta played 4 centre backs in the back line first, or he did it before Pep. Is this an argument online now?
Brian, Brendan Rodgers for Liverpool Football Club against Southampton at home played 4 centre backs. We played Toure, Skirtle, Sacco, and I think it was Daniel Agger as well, who all played all 4 centre backs. That does not mean that you started this shit. Obviously, well, Pep Guardiola is the master. He taught Pep. Come on.
I remember Fergie picking back 4s that had John O'Shea, Wes Brown as fullbacks with Rio and Vidic in the middle. They were all centre backs. So it's been done before. Again, this is the thing with football fans. Like it's young football fans. We always think everything's new. Fashion's the same. The amount of time you see a kid. I remember when I was younger, like flared bottoms. They weren't flares like the 70s, but flared out jeans become fashionable again. And there was genuinely kids that were like, no, it's out of fashion. No, this is from the 70s, bruv. Most fashion, like the way young kids dress now in the UK, is very like the 90s fashions come back in. I don't know why 90s fashion was awful, but it's like they think it's theirs. I'm like, this is just the 90s repeating itself. You look like they literally dress like PJ and Duncan, and it's crazy. But yeah, so Pep didn't teach him. Yeah, like Pep. I mean, Pep did teach Arteta. There's no doubt. Like he was his mentor.
He was literally the assistant. Like, how can you say he didn't teach him? He was literally Pep's assistant. It's not like he was Pep's former like player or something. He was Pep's assistant, bro, for 4 years. Like, come on, what are we doing here? You Arsenal fans are so sensitive. I swear to God, you can't even be logical. Like, be logical. The guy assisted Pep for 4 years. Who the hell else is he gonna learn from? David Moyes? Come on, man.
Arsenal will win the league if Arteta gets his own complete 20. This is pretty much his team now, though, isn't it? Like, I don't
this is
more than that. Someone here, has baggy ever been in Europe? Yeah, when I was younger, like baggy jeans, like sort of 15, 20 years ago, baggy jeans were really popular. Problem is with a lot of people in England, they don't buy the proper baggy jeans. They buy jeans that are too big for them and they hang down too low. There's a few shops I used to go to where the jeans were specifically made to be baggy. They're far more comfortable and they sit on your waist. But yeah, they were baggy jeans were fashionable for a time here. And then
I lived the baggy jeans era as well. As you know, it was definitely made popular by artists as well. They used to kind of wear it 15 years ago. Even NBA players used to wear baggy jeans. You know, it was a 2000s thing, not just a 90s thing. I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah. It carried on into the start and a little bit later.
Terry, your club just accepted the cheating. No, we didn't. There's no claims that United cheated anywhere. There's no claims. There's no nothing. Man United lost more money than they were allowed to in a certain period, which is a breach, but it isn't cheating at the end of the day. You know, if a player gets a booking in a football match, he hasn't cheated. He's committed a foul. There's a difference. We didn't lie about our documentation. We didn't falsify docs. We didn't pay people we weren't meant to pay. We didn't create fake sponsors. We didn't cheat. We just lost too much money, and we've got to, and we'll be punished for that, and rightfully so, absolutely. But we have not admitted to cheating. Let's not twist the truth. The point was the formation has been used before. Yeah, it has been used before. Yeah, Pep didn't invent it. Arteta didn't invent it. Fergie probably didn't invent it. It's just football, you know. But most things aren't new. But there we go. Listen, someone here says semantics. Yeah, like you can call it cheating if you would like, but then we have to have this same logic for everything now. Everything could be deemed cheating. If a manager berates refs in trying like a dark art, berating the ref to try and get more decisions to go their way, are we going to call that cheating? Are we just going to label it as cheating now, or what? I'm very happy to do it, but you guys have got to be the ones, the audience, to keep that same energy, because I'm pretty sure if I start calling your manager a cheat for doing that, you'll cry and say, Terry, you're just hating. So hey, look, we've breached the rule. We've been fined. We've accepted it. Now that we've accepted the punishment, we've paid the punishment. we move on. Simple as that. If anything, Xavi is more of a Pep player. But my question is make or break year for Klopp. Okay.
Make or break, I think, is a little bit too extreme. Look, everything in football is contextual. 99% of things is contextual in the world of football. If Liverpool Football Club win the Europa League, the FA Cup, and the Carling Cup and finish third, then no, it's not a break for Jurgen Klopp. But it really depends what happens. If somehow we end up doing worse than fifth, then yeah, it possibly is a break here for Jurgen Klopp. So I think it's all context related, but that's why me as a Liverpool fan, this once again relates to what Travelli was crying about earlier on. This is why I want us to win the league, because we have to set the standards for ourselves the same way that we set it 3 years ago when we kept on winning and winning and winning and winning. That's the level we want to get back to. That's why I'm trying to keep that standard as a fan of my football club.
Totally agree. Viewers, I want to say thank you to all of you. Back at 6 p.m. tonight, so not long actually, and we've got the top 6 show, so make sure you're all tuning in for that. That link's now ready, so go and hit the like button and bookmark it ready. Husam, always a pleasure to speak to you, my friend. It is. But everybody, until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.